Old man with a boat here. I thought I'd do a little bit different video this time and kind of just go back and tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I've owned my boat for 3 years now, so it's more like a 3-year review. But I want to go a little bit deeper. I want to tell you about the things that mistakes I've made. I want to talk about things that maybe as a new boat owner you need to think about that I didn't think about. But anyway, so just to let you know, so I've got a 2022 Vexus AVX1980. I've got about 100 hours. You know, I work full time, so it's not like I can take my boat out all the time. But I mean, you know, I take it out when I can and enjoy it. But anyway, let me start with the problems. I'll talk about the problems I've encountered owning my boat. The first problem I encountered was my live well pump. It just died. Not really sure why, but it died. I think it has to do more with the water that I use, or the water that I typically fish on. It's got a lot of tannins. It's dark. It's stained. There's a lot of debris, and I just think, you know, it just filled up and choked my pump to the point where it died. Wasn't a big deal. I replaced it, used YouTube, looked at a video and replaced it, and it wasn't too bad. The second issue I ran into was with the battery that was installed in my boat. I was out with my buddy, and we had, you know, the Raptors going. We had Mega 360. The live well, we were throwing shiners, live shiners, so I had them in my live well, so, you know, that's circulating water. So I had a lot going on, and I guess it's probably 4 hours into the trip, and I start hearing a beep, beep. I'm like, what is that? Well, that's the sound the Raptors make when you don't have enough juice. So my battery died. Luckily, we had another angler out there, saw me just floating around, well, trolling very slowly, and said, "Are you guys okay?" And I said, "Yeah, we could use a jump." Actually gave me his battery pack. We hooked it up, jumped the battery. All was good. We headed in, and I said, "Okay, I need to get a new battery." I thought just, you know, the battery died. So I went and bought an Optima 27, put that in. So that's too bad. I mean, the way it's laid out in my boat, the battery compartment, the cranking battery is kind of in the back corner, so you're kind of bending over, and, you know, when you're a fat guy like me, you're bending over trying to do that, and it's not comfortable. But I put that in and got it up and running, and it did pretty good. Really can't complain. The next thing that died on me was my water pressure gauge. Again, it just stopped working. I put air through it. I mean, I did all these different troubleshooting steps trying to get this to work or to display some movement of the needle, and nothing. I checked the line all the way through. It was good. It just died. Again, I think this has to do more with the quality of the water that I'm pumping through my boat, more than anything else. So I replaced that. Again, that was pretty easy, not too difficult. Vexus makes it so, you know, it's really not that difficult to do a lot of these things. Another weird one I got was my the check valve on my flush hose clogged, and it stopped working. So I started to get some like hot water coming out of the actual hose that you flush, you know, you hook your garden hose up to flush the boat. It was coming out when I was riding. I'm like, what is going on? It was hot. So I did some research and found that this check valve, they just die. You know, it's a sealed unit. It's not like I can go in there, start jamming, try to get it to unclog whatever debris may have gotten in there. I ended up just replacing it. Found it cheaper just to replace the entire hose assembly. Again, wasn't too bad. I'm not mechanically inclined, and I could do it. So anyway, it was good. You know, throughout owning my boat, I've something that I try to stay on top of is like bolts and screws. They tend to loosen up over time. That's something that you kind of need to stay on top of. You kind of need to go out there and after you've been on the water, just tighten things down. I know my trolling motor got loose. And that's a whole nother series of weird problems when your trolling motor kind of loosens up, the ground's not really there, and it starts acting really weird, and it's bizarre. But so that was an issue, but just tighten everything down, and check those bolts, check for loose things, and again, you're out on the water, especially if it's rough and you're banging, things start to shake and jitter and things come loose. But that's really all the problems that I've had. Now, I've induced a lot of problems, just from ignorance and just not knowing. But I think I'm going to move on to like some lessons learned. In owning my boat. The first and probably most important is the flush, right? So when you're finished, you bring your boat back before you put it in the garage or store it wherever that may be. You need to flush the engine. I mean, everywhere, everybody tells you need to flush, you need to flush. Well, I didn't get this fat not being lazy. So I'm like, okay, well, do I need to flush every single time? Yes, you do. You need to flush every single time. I just told you about all the things that died on my boat, the pump, the water gauge, all these weird things. And I think it's more because the crud in the water. If you look at the water on the St. John's, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've ever fished on the St. John's, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's really stained. I think that stuff just builds up. So I definitely recommend flushing your engine after every use. It takes 10 minutes, just hook up a hose, flush it through, get all that stuff out. Anyway, yeah, that was a lesson learned. I mean, I knew it, but with the things starting to slowly start to fade, starting to die on me, I was like, okay, I really need to stay on top of this, because last thing, I mean, a gauge is one thing, but a motor is a whole nother thing. So certainly recommend you taking the time and doing it right and flushing it after every use. Okay, enough of that. Let's talk about some of the ridiculous mistakes that I've made. Now, everybody that owns a boat has done this one where you forgot to put the drain plug in, right? Vexus is really nice because I got a little thing that says on or in or out, and I can just, as I'm setting my boat up, getting ready to put in the water, I just flip it over, the little drain plug sucks in, piece of cake. How do you miss that? Well, I've missed that damn thing so many times, and I don't realize it till I put my boat in the water, and all of a sudden the bilge pump kicks on and water starts flowing out. I'm like, oh my God. The good news is I can just reach back there and close it, right? But it's ridiculousness, and it's just, I find myself in a rush, and for whatever reason, I'm old and I space it out and I don't do it. I've left my transom saver attached to my motor, put it in the water, drove away, and lost my transom motor. Luckily, it didn't just rip apart my propeller or do any serious damage to my lower end. It just popped off and it's gone. How do you walk past your boat, unhook the straps in the back of your boat, and not notice that your transom saver is still there? So yeah, I did that. Another time I put my boat all the way in the water and I can't figure out why is it not sliding off the trailer. Well, I forgot to take 2 straps off. I mean, it's ridiculous things. Again, especially when I'm alone, I get in my head, I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do, where I'm gonna go, all of these things. And for whatever reason, you just space it out. Again, first boat, you make these mistakes. You don't make them twice, but I mean, unfortunately, I did make them, and it's ridiculous. Talked about, having my boat run, the battery die on my boat. Well, another lesson learned was the battery pack jumper, right? I mean, I have cables in my boat, but the battery pack jumper. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get a battery pack jumper just in case something happens, my battery dies, I can jump it quickly, right? No questions asked. I'm just gonna quickly just throw it on my battery, crank it up, and I can go back home. That's great, and I recommend everybody have one in their boat. What I found is that if you don't charge it, at least the one that I owned, if you don't charge it every 3 months, they run dead and they won't take a charge at all. So if you do purchase one, and they're not too bad, I think I got mine from Costco for like 80 bucks or something. If you do buy one, I definitely recommend that every couple months, and I do this now, but every couple months you take them out. You know, I keep one in each of my cars, and then I keep one in my boat. I just take them all out, charge them all up, put them back in their respective places. And it saved me. It saved me again because I upgraded my front unit from a Helix 9 to a 15, and then I put Mega Live on. So this was great. I mean, these are fantastic things. But at no point did it click in my head that adding these electronics, the new transducer and the bigger unit, that I need to change my battery. That my battery wouldn't be able to handle this extra juice, right? So, I mean, I had put that Optum 27 in. It was working fine. It helped me overcome my original problem. Anyway, so I upgrade to this new unit. I throw Mega Live on my boat. I'm out in the water, and I don't know if we made it to 4 hours. Beep, beep, beep. Oh no, here we go again, right? Here we go again. So, but hey, I'm smarter now. I got the battery pack jumper, not a problem. Throw the battery pack jumper, my boat starts right up. I bolt in, and I'm like, well, that's odd, because this AGM that I put in, I haven't had that very long. So I start doing a little research, and oh my gosh, it clicks. Boom, right there, right in my face, You're running all these things. Now I've got Mega Live, I've got 2 Raptors, I got Live Well. Now I got all of these things, these great toys, and I don't have the battery juice to keep them all running for more than a couple hours. So I did some research, got the Odyssey 31M, put that in, which was like giving birth to a flaming porcupine. But I got it on, and I got it in there, and I was sore for like 3 days after that. I was aching. My toes hurt. I mean, it was so, that battery is so heavy. Anyway, I got that installed, and knock on wood, I haven't had any problems since. And I run all this stuff. Again, I still got that battery pack in there just to make sure. Okay, my last lesson learned is the most ridiculous one at all. And as a grown man, it's the most embarrassing. Check how much gas you got in your boat. I cannot believe. My buddy and I, 2 engineers. I'm an engineer, he's an engineer. Anyway, we go fishing. We did like a 20-mile run down south. Beautiful day. Just wanted to catch early morning. We went out there just thinking we're going to go out there 3 or 4 hours, call it a day, come back. He had things to do. On the way back, I looked down and I said, what the hell? My gas gauge is on empty. I'm like, what? Keep in mind, I've owned this boat for 3 years, and I think I've filled it up with gas 5 times. It's very fuel efficient, right? I mean, I don't usually do really long runs, so I don't consume a lot of fuel. Anyway, so I'm looking down, and as soon as I looked and saw that my gas gauge was on empty, maybe a minute later, oh my God. So we're stranded in the middle of St. Johns River, trolling at whatever, excuse me, 3 miles an hour. Embarrassing, not a boat to be found. We trolled for, I want to say 3 hours, full bore, until my trolling motor started to go. slow down. I'm like, oh, here we go. Now we're gonna have to break the paddle out, right? Well, I'm not paddling. I got a paddle. I'm not using it. Hell no. So I'm on the phone with like a water taxi place. Come get me, you know. I'm out of fuel. And just as I'm on the phone, I see this boat coming. So we start doing the panic wave, you know. And God bless them. They came, got me, towed us in, and all was good. It was so embarrassing, though. The worst part was telling our wives and never hearing the end of it. So, sorry about that. I need to drink some water or something. Anyway, so yeah, check your gas. Definitely check your gas. As far as the Vexus goes, there's a lot of pros to owning my Vexus. It's extremely stable on the water. It does handle rough water very well. I don't enjoy riding on rough water. You know, if and there's white caps on the St. John's and it's 3 or 4 foot waves, dude, I'm cutting through and it'll go, and she does really well. But dude, I'm soaking wet, you know? I mean, it's just, there's water coming all over the place. I don't know where it's coming from, but I'm getting hit with water from the sides and the back of my head. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, it's not a pleasant experience, and I just don't enjoy it, right? If the sea's angry, I'm not going out in the sea, period. I mean, that's not the boat. That's not why I got this boat. I don't want to jump waves and come out the water and do all the things I have. And that's why I'm telling you, I don't want to do it anymore. But it's a very smooth and comfortable ride in normal conditions. It's very smooth and comfortable, and it turns very well. And again, it's very stable. When you're fishing, it's very stable. I have nothing but positive things to say about how they designed the boat, made the boat. It's a really good boat. Now, looking back, you know, would I do it again? You know, now I've had this for 3 years. Would I get the same boat? What would I change? How would I go about it? And the only thing I think I would change is I paid extra for a hydraulic jack plate, thinking that for some reason I'm going to want to take and lift my motor up and do all these things. Rarely do I touch that. That's not the type of fishing I do. So I'm not sure that I got much value in adding that. And when I bought my boat, Dave, my salesman, was like, you know, you should really consider getting the live units, you know, the forward facing sonar. I didn't do that, and I kind of regret. I think I should have invested in that right off. And then again, the bigger model, the bigger unit on the bow. I have glasses. That little 9 was okay, but it's not the 15. I mean, the 15, I see all kind of detail that I never even came close to seeing on the 9. So kind of wish that I had gotten a bigger unit to begin with. But that's basically the only changes I would have got. Everything else I'm real happy with. But anyway, that's all I got for today. I just wanted to share that with you. 3 years in, still loving it. Anyway, this is the old man wishing you guys farewell. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time.